1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. The sports world keeps spinning, and the local conversation continues. Now, Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you on our late night show. Are you kidding me? Where else would you rather be from 10 o'clock to midnight on a Tuesday in Jacksonville, Florida, than right here on Hacker After Dark? We are certainly glad you are with us. We are inside of 48 hours until the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Football Jets. We got a lot to get into tonight. Here is what the guest lineup looks like. Coming up in less than 20 minutes, my friend Chris Trapasso, CBSSports.com. He wrote an article that's on the NFL page on CBS Sports all about Trevor Lawrence. What is going so right now for Trevor Lawrence? I think you'll find it to be a very interesting article over on CBSSports.com, and we'll have Chris Trapasso on to talk about the article and about Trevor less than 20 minutes from now. Coming up in about 40 minutes, my friend Brent Beard will put one final wrap on the Florida Gator 2022 season. We'll also look ahead to signing day tomorrow. There's some angst in Gator Nation about what's going on, not only with signing day, but about the transfer portal. So we'll talk with Brent Beard about that in the 11 o'clock hour. Zig Fracassi, SiriusXM, NFL Radio. He's based up in New York. We will talk Jaguars and Jets with Zig Fracassi. And at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour, Justin Barney of Channel 4 as we get you ready locally for National Signing Day, at least the December portion of it, tomorrow morning and afternoon. But as we always do, to kick it off on Hacker After Dark, we have a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So it was 2 years ago today, December 20th, 2020. The Jaguars played at 1 o'clock that afternoon and had gotten boat raced 40-14 by Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, that was the year Jacksonville would lose 15 games in a row after winning the opener over Indianapolis. So I came in to do the fifth quarter. Leon Searcy was out that day 2 years ago. Big Sofa Damon Jones was filling in for Big Leon. And Damon and I were talking about the Jaguars and the Ravens. We were talking about how awful things were here in Jacksonville in the midst of, at that point, now a 13-game losing streak. It was the 13th consecutive loss on that particular Sunday. And I remember sitting in this chair, the same microphone, in the same radio studio, watching the same television that I'm watching right now. And as Damon and I are having a conversation, I peered up to the screen and just happened to see the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Rams. It was a 3rd down and 6 for the Jets. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Jets, amazingly, were up 3. They were winless at this point. All they had to do is lose their remaining 3 games, and they would have gotten the number 1 overall pick. And in the midst of the fifth quarter 2 years ago, this is what it sounded like.
And do the best that they can. So I don't see anything other than those guys doing their best. And you're making like something just bad happen. Did it happen? What happened? What bad happened?
I believe Frank Gore has just got a first down for the New York Jets. They are going to go in victory formation in Los Angeles, and the New York Jets are going to win a football game.
Wow.
That means if the NFL draft were happening tomorrow, the Jacksonville Jaguars have the number 1 pick in the draft based on tiebreakers. Well. Holy cow. Now, again, all the tiebreaker scenarios that have been played out, the numbers that have been crunched will tell you
the Jaguars would win out on strength of schedule where they would end up with the number 1 pick. This is going to make for some compelling radio the next 2 weeks. Again, Jacksonville, I am volunteering my services to play quarterback for the Jaguars on Sunday. Damon, I don't know if you want to come out of retirement.
I'm good.
If you want to come back and play. But the New York Jets, based on what I see right here, are going to go into victory formation. They're going to beat the Los Angeles Rams.
That's going to be...
And because the New York Jets won that football game 2 years ago today, the Jacksonville Jaguars were able to draft Trevor Lawrence. So happy Frank Gore Day, Jacksonville. This should be a local holiday every year. As we get ready for Christmas, every year get ready to celebrate the holidays with friends and family, we should kick it off annually on December 20th with the annual Frank Gore Day here in Jacksonville, Florida. At some point, he should be presented a key to the city. Need to maybe have a parade for Frank Gore. I said earlier this week the Jaguars should all go into MetLife Stadium on Thursday night wearing Frank Gore uniforms. Because he got that first down, the Jaguars were able to draft Trevor Lawrence. What would have happened had Frank Gore not gotten that first down? You ever think of that? If Frank Gore did not get that first down, if the Jets do not beat the Rams 2 years ago today, the Jets would be drafting Trevor Lawrence. He'd be in New York City. There's no doubt about that. Would the Jaguars have taken Zach Wilson? Would the Jaguars have taken Justin Fields? Would Urban Meyer have wanted to come to Jacksonville in the first place? Would Doug Peterson have wanted to come to Jacksonville? The chain of events, the dominoes that fell on that Sunday evening, the 20th day of December in 2020, 2 years ago today, are absolutely unbelievable. And thankfully, Frank Gore did get that first down. The Jets did win that game, and the Jaguars have reaped the benefits. The Jaguars have a top 10 quarterback. You could argue top 5. He's playing like a top 5 quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence with 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3,500 yards passing, completing 66% of his passes. He heads to New York City on Thursday night with an opportunity to give the Jaguars an enormous road win and continue a drive to the postseason in only year number 2. It's fitting the Jaguars are playing the Jets this week on the 2-year anniversary of Frank Gore getting that first down. Trevor Lawrence is here. Zach Wilson is there. Zach Wilson officially named the starter for the Jets on Thursday night. Trevor Lawrence met the media earlier today down at TIAA Bank Field, and he talked about his relationship with the New York Jets starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I've known him, I guess, like you said, since the draft process. You know, we both trained out in California, pretty close to one another. So he trained with someone else, but I met him out there. We actually use the same chef, so met him out there. So I've seen him a few different times since then. Obviously, we played up there last year, and I've always had a good relationship with him. We've kept in touch kind of loosely throughout not really this season, but the off season and during the season last year, both being rookies. So we kind of kept in touch, and root for him. Obviously, we got a pretty good relationship. We're not super close necessarily, but I have a lot of respect for him and all that. So that's
Zach Wilson playing for the Jets because Mike White, who was the starting quarterback, is out. Keep in mind, the Jets with Zach Wilson at quarterback this year, I believe, are 5-3. He's won 5 games as a starter. He has just played really, really bad in most of the games that they've lost, and he played bad, quite frankly, in some of the games they even won. The Jets' defense is just simply so good that they overcame a lot of those issues. There is supposed to be weather in New York City on Thursday night. It's going to be cold. I've seen low 40s, high 30s. There's certainly a chance of some rain. You mix the cold with the rain, it could be nasty. We remember Philadelphia, right, earlier this year. Remember Trevor fumbling the ball 4 times in weather in Philadelphia. Trevor was asked today what he learned in Philly if the weather is bad in East Rutherford, New Jersey on Thursday night.
Yeah, take care of the ball a little better. But no, I mean, as far as just my preparation, I mean, you kind of know what to expect as far as it's probably going to rain, going to be cold. But I think you just approach like any other week, obviously. Ball security is really important, especially in games like that. It always is, but especially in those conditions. And just be smart, maybe work on it this week, some wet ball drill stuff with the wideouts and myself just throwing in those conditions. And but no, I mean, that's really it. That's all you can do.
Think about the last 3 wins for the Jaguars. Not only have they beaten 3 teams that would be in the playoffs if they started today, Baltimore, Tennessee, and Dallas, they fell behind to each of those teams. They trailed Baltimore and Dallas in the 4th quarter. Remember, Tennessee went right down the field and scored, and then scored again to go up 14-7. So not only are they beating good teams, they're coming from behind to do it. Now, you don't want to do that, right? You want to get off to better starts. But if you can come from behind and win against better teams in this league, that has to give you an unbelievable amount of confidence. It also shows the fact there's no panic on this football team. Trevor Lawrence addressed that earlier today as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've felt that at different times really throughout my couple years here, but I would say kind of it all coming together for everyone, not just myself, but just that belief full circle and seeing it consistently. I think you look back at kind of like the Raiders game, being down and coming back and winning that game. That specifically, I'd say you kind of start to see it happen with everyone. Everyone's got each other's back. There's no panic.
There is no panic. There's no doubt about that. And boy, they got a big one Thursday night. And they've earned this. You know why this is a big game on Thursday? Because they've earned the right for it to be a big game. Now, I do wonder, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, glass half empty guy. I'm just stating my opinion. I hope Jacksonville goes up there and wins, and I might even be leaning towards picking them to win. But it's a tall order. This is a tall order. You got to come off an emotional win like they had 2 days ago. Denmark, as we know, tomorrow, the Jaguars are getting on an airplane. Thank you. And flying to East Rutherford, New Jersey. They're playing a Jets team on Thursday night in their house in the cold in New Jersey that needs the win terribly bad as well. It is a tall order. There are not a lot of teams in the NFL that could do this, that could win in Tennessee, come home down 17 against Dallas, come back and win, and then in 4 days' time go to New York and beat the Jets on Thursday night primetime.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
We're getting into rarefied air here if the Jaguars actually pull this off. So I hope Jaguar fans realize this is tough, man. This is a tough ask to ask the Jaguars to go up there and win another game against a good team in their house on Thursday night. But good grief, if they do it, all of a sudden then you're 7-8. You got a mini bye, right? You got 10 days to rest up before you go to Houston. Oh, if they win this game on Thursday night, what a win. What a win it would be. We're going to talk a lot of Jaguars and Jets tonight. We're going to talk a lot about the early signing period, which is tomorrow. We're here till midnight, Jacksonville. We are streaming for your viewing pleasure on the 1010XL YouTube page. Just go to youtube.com, search 1010XL. You'll see Hacker After Dark there. Also on Twitter, at 1010XL on Twitter. You can watch the show there until midnight tonight. Coming up next, Chris Trapasso, CBSSports.com. He's got an article up on CBSSports.com all about Trevor Lawrence. Why, in the last 6 weeks, has he been one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League? It's a good article. That's why I wanted Chris on. We're going to talk about it next. Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Speed kills.
He was shot out of a cannon.
But what kills speed?
Oh, I'm hurt.
That nagging injury.
Listen for the personal injury attorney's Farah and Farah Injury Update on 1010XL. Protecting you and your family since 1979.
Jacksonville.
Attention car buyers, you in the market for a new vehicle? Are you noticing the markup on vehicles on dealers' lots? Well, not the case at Key Buick GMC. We never have markups on our vehicles. Come in today and ask for Derek or Steve. As always, the lifetime powertrain warranty in effect whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade on the corner of Southside and Gate, or visit our website, keybuickgmc.com.
Outdoor comfort can feel hard to come by once the summer season settles in. Luckily, here at Armor Guard Exteriors, we offer retractable screens by Sinesta. Not only can these screens help you find shade, but they can also reduce glare, lessen the impact of wind, protect your patio furniture, and keep insects out of your space. Ready to learn more? Then call Armor Guard Exteriors today at 904-906-8669.
When Wingstop made a chicken sandwich, you know they couldn't just make just one. Now you can have all 12 sauces and toss favorites, like the OG Hot, with a side of ranch, mango habanero, and my favorite, lemon pepper. This is Leon Searcy, and you're hearing it from me. The Favorites and Chicken Sandwich is back at all your local Wingstop locations. So do like I do. Pick your favorite flavor and try the new chicken sandwich today at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or consolidate other debt or even start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. You could use that extra cash for the holidays, and you can get it with Loan Pronto. Also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
1010XL celebrates athletic and academic greatness.
Listen for the High School Scholar Athlete Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
Perfect Rack Billiards in Murray Hill is your spot to be for all your football needs. Full liquor bar, 8 pool tables, darts, and shuffleboard. Weekly specials every day of the week from 60-cent wings to seltzer Saturdays, along with wing and pitcher specials on Sunday, and tons of great draft choices daily. There isn't a better place to play pool, have a beer, and just kick back. Half-price apps from 9 to close weekdays. Perfect Rack Billiards on Edgewood and Murray Hill. The best place in Jax to watch sports.
Hey, it's Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Santa told me that you've been thinking about a Y membership, but not really sure how it works. So come check out the Y for free. Every Friday this month, the Y is free. That means you and your buddies and your spouse and your kids can all take advantage of free Fridays at the Y. More than just a gym, the Y is a community where you develop relationships, achieve your goals, and belong to something bigger than yourself. This month, Fridays are free, so find your why.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Captain Kevin Favor here, and this holiday save up to $12,000 at Tire Outlet. This December, when you buy a set of Kumho tires from TireOutlet.com, you'll receive a holiday scratch-off with exclusive savings to use through the new year. Don't wait. Visit TireOutlet.com for holiday savings today.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Every time you tee it up, you're trying to go low.
trying to perfect the game and the ultimate score? Well, the Golf Club of Southampton invites you to attack those pins and play a track that can meet your challenge. All skill levels, from beginners to scratch golfers. The Golf Club of Southampton has it for you, and the party on the patio, too. Check out their Friday night special menu and music on the patio and under the stars. Call 287-PLAY for a tee time at Southampton and stick around for a little fun after. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here for Zero Res. I asked my wife, what do you want for the new year? And she said, a clean home filled with family and friends. So that means the carpet, the tile, the grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on. They need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call, and your carpet's clean for only $49 a room, and you get your tile and grout clean for 25% off. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards.
Zeroresk. Zero Res.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Jets, Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Trevor Lawrence on a national stage, albeit a streaming national stage on Amazon Prime. Of course, you'll be able to watch the game locally here on Fox 30. But Trevor has played awfully well the last 6 weeks, and now the national audience will get to see him in prime time. Chris Trapasso is one of our guys over at CBSSports.com, and he wrote a very, very good article about Trevor Lawrence earlier this week. Chris is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Chris, how we doing?
Doing really good. Thanks for having me again.
Hey, Chris, always appreciate the time, man. All right, you and I talked before Trevor was drafted. We've talked last year. We talked this off season. It's a completely different narrative here in Jacksonville, Chris. All of a sudden, the Jaguars control their own destiny. 3 games to go, and if they win all 3, they'd be AFC South champions. That's amazing, considering they were.
It is amazing, and it's amazing. And even though they're only 6-8, and I wrote this in the article, we hear about with a lot of the top teams in both conferences that teams understand it's a 17-game season. It's really long. You want to be on the cautious side with injuries. And what's more important than anything else is that you're playing your best football in late December and early January. And it looks like that's what the Jaguars are doing now. So even if they don't have a very gaudy record going into the playoffs, if they're winners of, 7 of 8 or, 7 of their last 10, whatever the case may be, they're going to be a dangerous team in the playoffs because of Trevor Lawrence. And I wrote in my article, especially being a draft guy at heart, we are starting to see why and almost reminded of why he was such a highly regarded, almost generational prospect, that we kind of lost sight of that during his rookie season. But he's really playing, not just, he's taken a step, but he's playing pretty close to being an elite quarterback over these last 6 games for the Jaguars.
Chris, you mentioned in your article, too, the struggles early in the year. Why do you think things have gotten so much better for Trevor as of late?
I think it's just learning Doug Peterson's system, and not just that blanket statement, but understanding when he can take some of those risks down the football field. That Doug Peterson, I think the staff, his system altogether is very quarterback friendly, and it gives a lot of easy high level or high percentage completions to Trevor Lawrence and really whoever the quarterback was. When he was in Philadelphia, that was the case as well, with a litany of different quarterbacks. Those play action bootlegs into the flat, a lot of screens. We've seen over the last 6 games, really 2 months, that Trevor Lawrence has said, okay, I have these layups, I'm going to hit on these, but occasionally we need to stretch the football field downfield to Marvin Jones and to Zay Jones and to Christian Kirk. And he's really settled into that balance of staying within the scheme and taking the layups, and then showing everyone again why he has that high-level arm talent that made him this can't-miss prospect in 2021.
Chris Trapasso, CBSSports.com. Chris, it's all about checking off boxes for Trevor. And look, he's checked off a lot of boxes. I thought he did it again on Sunday. back in the day, last year and even earlier this year, when something went wrong, it was like a quicksand effect. Then another thing would go wrong and another, and it's like he couldn't dig himself out of it. Well, Sunday, he throws the pick in the third quarter, comes right back, and then throws a 60-yard touchdown strike to Zay Jones. And then the bigger one, the fumble with 90 seconds to go, the defense holds, he gets the ball back, and bam, drives him for the game-tying field goal. I thought, Chris, for a guy that was starting his 31st game in the NFL, that was unbelievably impressive.
Yeah, and it's good that you point that out because it's kind of goes beyond the stat book that you needed to be watching that game to see that he had to have that quarterback amnesia and just forget about the last drive. That touchdown, that 59-yarder to Zay Jones, was the next throw after the interception. So in today's NFL, we saw certainly in Week 15, it is as parity-filled maybe as ever. And even a 17-point lead in the second half is not safe. So I think Trevor Lawrence, being that it was his 31st start, he understands that now. And he understands, hey, look, I still need to make big-time throws and not put the ball in precarious situations. A turnover here or a turnover there with the way that he knows that he can push the ball downfield, that's not the end of a game. And you can be down by 17 points. You can still have a turnover. You can have multiple turnovers. When he has the ball, I'm not going to put him in the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Justin Herbert territory, but because he has a very similar arm talent to those three top-level quarterbacks, when he has the football, if there's, I think, anything more than 30 or 40 seconds on the clock, he can drive the length of the field outside of structure or within the pocket and get the Jaguars into field goal range if they need it, or even to score a touchdown. And that, again, is why there was really no debate in 2021 that he had to be the first pick. We're starting to see him really assume that potential or realize that potential late in his second season.
A couple of more for Chris Trapasso of CBSSports.com. He's got the Trevor Lawrence article there on the NFL page at CBS Sports. You know, you're only as good, Chris, as a quarterback when you have a good O-line and good weapons around you. And Trent Baalke got a lot of grief this offseason for paying big money for Zay Jones, for Evan Ingram, and for Christian Kirk. Did you overpay? Maybe. But on Sunday, those three had 20 catches for over 200 yards, and Zay Jones' 3 touchdowns. I mean, they're all three going to have career years here in Jacksonville, and I guess that just speaks to not only Trevor Lawrence, but working in Doug Peterson's offense.
Yeah, definitely. And what's funny is, so I'm in Buffalo, and it feels somewhat similar to what happened 3 and 4 years ago with the Bills and Josh Allen, that Josh Allen, it kind of took until his second season to not make as many mistakes, but still be able to push the ball down the field in some close contests in year 2 when the Bills made the playoffs. They went 10-6. They got back there with Josh Allen. And that they brought in John Brown. They brought in Cole Beasley. And to have those veterans with a younger quarterback doing it that way instead of saying, let's draft a wide receiver in the first round. So we have a 22-year-old quarterback and we have a 21-year-old wide receiver. To have veterans that Trevor Lawrence can rely on the field during practice that can help him say, hey, look, this is where we should maybe try this concept if we're down late, or you can trust me on this route. That's huge for his development. So even if the Jaguars did overpay a little bit for those receivers, I think we've certainly seen that they're getting pretty good quality or return on investment at this point, where right now, I wouldn't even really consider it much of an overpayment. And even if it is, I don't think anyone in Jacksonville cares if they spent extra money to get Zay Jones and Christian Kirk on this team, because they are two versatile players that can play in the slot, on the outside. They run good routes. We've seen them make plays after the catch and down the football field. So in today's NFL, where wide receiver is so vital, it's almost hard to overpay when you have a young quarterback with veteran receivers that can help his development in year 2 or any point early in his career.
Chris, as we begin to wrap up, I want to ask you about the Jets game on Thursday, but you piqued my interest with the Buffalo comparison. Obviously, Josh Allen took off when Stephon Diggs came. And I'm not saying that Calvin Ridley is going to be Stephon Diggs, but Calvin Ridley, before he stepped away from the game, you could argue was among the top 15 wide receivers in the league. If Calvin Ridley is 75% of the receiver that he was in Atlanta when he comes here to Jacksonville after he gets reinstated. What could that do for Trevor Lawrence?
It's huge. I mean, I don't think he will have as big of an impact as Stephon Diggs, but remember, Stephon Diggs kind of felt like a Calvin Ridley type wide receiver in Minnesota. He was kind of the second fiddle to Adam Thielen, had a couple 1,000-yard seasons, felt like this young, burgeoning wide receiver. He gets to Buffalo, and then he's the number one guy, and he takes off and becomes an elite receiver. He's an all-pro. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Calvin Ridley assumes those wide receiver one type targets, that role, with a young quarterback that has all the talent in the world. And we even see a better Calvin Ridley in year 2. Beyond that, I think it's very similar to the Bills in that, like I mentioned, John Brown and Cole Beasley, when they enter that 2020 season, they were the 1 and the 2. Stephon Diggs comes in. Teams still had to pay attention to Cole Beasley and John Brown, and that helped Stephon Diggs get probably more one-on-ones than an offense that is just one receiver-centric. And I think going into next season, they will certainly have that, where teams are going to face the Jaguars and say, hey, look, we just saw 2 really productive seasons from Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. We need to pay attention to them as well. I think you're looking at a pretty good veteran wide receiver group. You could certainly still add, a receiver in the draft in the 2nd or the 3rd round to learn from these veterans. And certainly having Marvin Jones, I think, has worked wonders for this group kind of gelling together. But yes, definitely, I think Calvin Ridley could be in a situation where there won't be crazy high expectations, but he's kind of aligned to be a breakout player next season with Trevor Lawrence in year 3.
Final moments with Chris Trapasso of CBSSports.com. All right, Chris, the Jaguars go to New York. Boy, about a month ago, you thought, boy, this will be a snooze fest for Amazon on Thursday night. And now all of a sudden, good grief, this is a huge game with huge playoff implications for both teams. What's your expectation on Thursday?
Well, I think the loss of Cam Robinson that we just heard about earlier this week is big. We'll certainly see what Walker Little can do suddenly in a huge spot at left tackle. But I think this will be a game where we really see the importance and the value that Doug Peterson brings, because the Jets can certainly bring it up front with their defensive line. They like to blitz. Certainly their rookie cornerback, Sauce Gardner, looks like the defensive rookie of the year. He's been locked down on the perimeter. But kind of what I just mentioned earlier about next season with Calvin Ridley and the diverse weapons, what's good about this Jaguars team right now is that they're not just relying on Zay Jones. They're not just relying on Christian Kirk or Marvin Jones. They've spread the ball around very well. So even if maybe this is a game where Zay Jones doesn't have a 3-touchdown performance, but we've seen that Trevor Lawrence can elevate other players on the roster. I think we'll see more play action, a lot of easy throws, get the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands so he's not under duress a lot, although he has shown that he can make those big-time throws when there is pressure in his face. And I think defensively, the Jaguars can stay with this Jets team, especially with Zach Wilson at the quarterback spot, who's just not nearly as accurate or poised under pressure as the former backup, Mike White. So I think we're in for a very fun Thursday Night Football contest for a change here between the Jaguars and the Jets.
Chris, final question. Who wins the AFC South?
I think it's the Jaguars. I just look at the momentum, and I know some people don't believe in it, but I think the way that it is trended with that Jaguars win over the Titans, that convincing win, that kind of set the stage for what we've seen over the last couple weeks, that what I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, it's all about playing your best football with the most confidence late in the season. And it feels like the Titans are kind of stuck in the mud. They are certainly banged up quite a bit. Ryan Tannehill's future in terms of being on the injury report, we don't know how long he's going to be out, if he's going to be out. Defensively, they went through a pretty solid stretch where they're looking better on defense, but now they've played some better teams that haven't been quite as strong. I think the Jaguars, mostly due to Trevor Lawrence and the stability at the head coach spot, is huge this time of year, especially that it's Doug Peterson who's won a Super Bowl. And if he does have to, go up against Mike Vrabel in terms of just the win-loss record, he's another coach that has tons of experience in these critical end of the regular season type situation. So I think the Jaguars will squeak it out, and they will have a home playoff game.
Chris Trapasso does a terrific job for CBSSports.com, and you can read his article about Trevor Lawrence right now on CBS Sports, the NFL homepage. Chris, as always, man, thank you. Happy holidays. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Always enjoy having Chris Trapasso of CBSSports.com here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Again, the Jaguars and the Jets on Thursday night. Tomorrow night is the last Hacker After Dark of the week. We'll be with you from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and then we're all over. On Thursday, I'll join Hayes Carline for the Jaguar pregame. Leading into the network coverage, we'll be on from 3 o'clock to about 5:15. And then on Friday morning, a special edition of the fifth quarter. Myself, Leon Searcy, head coach Dave Campo will be in for Dan and Jeff on the drill. So a special fifth quarter, Friday morning, 7A to 10A, getting you all caught up on the previous night's festivities there between the Jaguars and the Jets. More on the Jaguars coming up in just a bit. Zig Fracassi of SiriusXM NFL Radio. He's based in New York City. What's the vibe up there in New York with the Jaguars rolling in less than 48 hours? Coming up next, we'll turn our gears to college football. The Gator season officially in the books, although, boy, they are ice cold on the recruiting trail. They're going to keep the class mostly intact tomorrow. It's a good class for Billy Napier, but they have missed on every single guy they've tried to get here over the last week and a half. I'm going to talk to Brent Beard about that. Why is that happening? We're also going to talk about the transfer portal. I want to get into the transfer portal, too, in just a bit. Florida has gotten one guy out of the transfer portal. One. Caleb Banks, a D lineman out of Louisville. There are about 290 players that went into the portal have already committed to different schools. 290 nationally. Florida's gotten one. You see Devin Leary, the NC State quarterback? He committed tonight to Kentucky. Why is Devin Leary going to Kentucky and not Florida? Why is Florida not getting anybody out of the transfer portal? Mike Norvell is doing it again in the portal. They've got 6 guys. They've gone out and got probably 2 guys that are start for them on the offensive line. They brought in Jaheim Bell, the tight end from South Carolina. That's probably going to be their starting tight end. Norvell is cleaning up the portal again this year. What are they doing in Gainesville? What? We'll talk about it next with Brent Beard. It's Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Putting the ball in the end zone's like putting money in the bank.
I told you and I told you. Touchdown.
Universal Roofing Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game on 1010XL. Universal Roofing Contracting. The difference is universal.
There's life before sports injury, and there's life after. You're in pain, and you need answers, fast. Mayo Clinic's orthopedic and sports medicine team will see you same day, no referral necessary. Rest assured, we'll get it right from the start and have you back in action as quick as you can say. Ranked the #1 hospital in Florida for orthopedics. To schedule, visit sportsmedicine.mayoclinic.org.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
Gators!
Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Chump, chump, chump!
On the home of the Florida Gators.
Go Gators!
1010XL.
I'm Holt Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we have the size and resources to take on the largest companies. But we are also the size that we know each and every one of our clients when they call. So call us. Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom! You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 20th, 2005, Kobe Bryant puts up 62 points in 3 quarters, while the Mavericks scored 61 total points during that time frame.
This holiday season, unwrap a brand new Dreamfinders home. You'll enjoy everything that makes the holidays merry and bright with family and friends in an expertly built, energy-efficient Dreamfinders home. What could be better than calling one of St. Johns County's magnificent communities such as Shearwater, Beacon Lake, or Silverleaf home as 2022 comes to a close and an exciting new year begins. Plus, with an interest rate lock special from Dreamfinders Homes, the timing is perfect to be in a gorgeous move-in ready home. Happy holidays to all from Dreamfinders Homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
This is Walker Little of your Jacksonville Jaguars for Kingfish Pest Control. I've been a Kingfish customer for a while now and can confirm that their service is incredible. Not only do they protect my family from pests, Kingfish's office staff is the friendliest around. They even email me a photo of the tech before arriving at my home. Kingfish Pest Control is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be sure to enter their Swat That Kick sweepstakes for free pest control for 3 years. Go to kingfishpest.com and tell them Walker Little sent you.
Come to Monahan Jewelers' 45th anniversary holiday sale, now with up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store, we're your local family jeweler. With an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget and with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, open 7 days a week in December.
Whether you're freeing up space for visiting family or just need a helping hand around the house to do the big jobs, J-Dog Junk Removal is ready for your call this holiday. If you're breaking out decorations and realize that you need to clear space quick, call J-Dog. Or if you need something heavy moved to a different location, the veterans at J-Dog provide courteous labor services. No matter how big the job, call J-Dog Junk Removal at 844-GET-JDOG or enter your zip code at jdog.com.
So you got a letter from your insurance company saying that your policy will be canceled if you don't replace your roof. I did, and before I did anything, I called Ken Lawler and Fifth Element Adjusting. Ken, how's it work?
Jeff, if you've received a non-renewal letter from your insurance carrier, our team will help you navigate the confusing process and review your policy for you. Our goal is to get your damaged property replaced so you can get back to your life. Call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit feaclaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
Beaches Jewelry and Pawn can save you time and money this holiday. Avoid the box retail crowds and shop local. Hundreds of jewelry items from earrings to watches. Shop local, shop Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. BeachesJewelryandPawn.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Florida Gator season officially in the books. The transfer portal is on fire. And tomorrow is the early signing period in the month of December. There is a ton to get into. With that, let me welcome in my friend Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him every week here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, sir?
Well, an early Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to our listeners as we get closer. I always enjoy the bowl games, even the minor ones. I'm a playoff guy, but there's certainly a place for bowl games. We're approaching the certainly one of the biggest days of the year with the early signing period where we need to go with that. Looking forward to certainly Florida State playing, Georgia playing, and also a what I would say one of the more intriguing Gator Bowls in a while. So it's a good time of year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right, it was not good for Florida in Las Vegas on Saturday. I understand, Brent, that they didn't have a lot of guys, and I didn't expect them to win, but I expected them to compete a little bit, and boy, we didn't see a lot of that.
No, unfortunately, that did not happen. Now, I do give Oregon State a lot of credit. They were ready to play. That quarterback, kind of in and out, Ben Gulbranson, did a nice job. Florida did get the field goal at the end to keep the scoring streak alive. To me, the big stand of the game was Oregon State holding Florida to 39 yards on 33 carries. That told you basically what you needed to know. Unfortunately, Jack Miller did very little of anything. They had 2 yards of offense in the second quarter, not much else beyond that. I mean, I get the fact, Hag, and the big picture that folks are disappointed. Consecutive losing seasons, first time since 78, 79. I mean, they're losing guys like Trey Dean to the draft. But, look, the Gator fan, all you really do right now is just be patient and hope that this staff, and this staff still knows a lot more about recruiting than Dan Mullen's staff. I can assure you of that. Most amusing thing I've heard today was Dan Mullen on radio discussing recruiting. I thought that was rather amusing. But I mean, between the portal and between recruiting high school seniors, I mean, that's where they are at this point. Now, they could get a guy like Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, who, first of all, was linked to the Auburn situation. He's not. That's maybe more Devin Leary for Auburn. That would help considerably. But I understand the anger for Gator fans, Hack, but the reality is this staff's not going anywhere, and it would not do this program any good to get rid of him and try to hire somebody else after just a year. That's not the way you do it.
No, I agree. And again, Brent Beard here with us. I hope no one's considering that, but I do hear some criticism. The natives are restless, Brent. They're not happy at 6 and 7, and with good reason. Look, I mean, you survive South Florida, you lose to Vanderbilt. I mean, even the good times this year, other than Utah, there were some very close calls. It could have been worse than 6 and 7. I certainly understand the frustration.
No doubt, and they've certainly got a right to that. And look, I think if they had done something earlier at quarterback to balance the Richardson situation, it would have helped considerably. If Miller would have been up and going by mid-season, at that point you would have at least known how realistic that it would have been, all in all. But Osiris Torrance being out of the offensive line, you would think, how can one guy make that much difference? But boy, it did, didn't it, Hack? I mean, they just could not protect Miller and be able to run the ball at all. So many of these things just kind of piled up at this point. But we've also seen where in the portal, and again, what we've got to remember, there's going to be a lot of times you've got this portal going on to about the mid-January, then there's a break, and then it comes up again after spring practice, unless something's changed with it. So there's still going to be a couple of very important times in the portal for this Gator football team.
Well, it's a double whammy, too. I mean, look, you're not playing well on the field. The season certainly did not end the way you wanted it to, and you're losing to Miami on recruits. I mean, that's the bottom line. Miami in a straight-up battle with Florida for the big tackle out of Massachusetts, and Mark Fletcher, the running back out of American Heritage down south, beat Florida, and Miami got those commitments. And whether Cristobal got them or the NIL got them or, whatever, Miami's getting these guys and Florida's not. So the thing for Napier and his staff is clear. You can hit the ground running and you can be the greatest recruiters on planet Earth. In a land of NIL, you got to get NIL. You got to get collectives because you keep competing with Miami, you're losing a majority of these battles right now, and that needs to change.
Well, and I think there's a couple things to that, too. The one is, and again, Miami, to the credit, I mean, they got Javion Cohen from Alabama. They also got Mark Fletcher, who is a blue-chip running back, frankly. But again, my thing with Miami is I don't know, and the jury's still out very much with Miami whether or not they can develop these kids, Hack. That's been the knock on Cristobal for a while. He's a good recruiter, but can he develop these guys? And again, you got to have them in order to develop them, and I also get that too. I mean, Florida right now is number 11 in rivals. They've got 21. They'll get a few more, obviously, to go along with that. It would be nice to get a top 10 class. And they made progress from where they were in the beginning a few weeks ago, or certainly a few months ago, the way this thing's going. So hopefully that will help them. But yes, I understand the frustration with it. But look, if there's anything good that came out of that Las Vegas situation is you've got your bowl out of the way, and now the only thing you can do is concentrate on bringing guys in.
Couple of more for Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him right here on Hacker After Dark on a weekly basis. I actually think the bowl hurt them, Brent. I mean, you never want to decline a bowl invitation, but they lost the final weekend of in-campus visits.
Yeah.
And your reward for that was getting boat raced and embarrassed on national television in Las Vegas in front of 25,000 people in a 70,000-seat stadium. I mean, what did that bowl game really do? It hurt recruiting, I know that, because a couple of those kids that visited Florida on December 9th went to Miami last week and then committed to Miami. So I almost think the bowl game was a bad deal. They got a bad draw in getting the Las Vegas Bowl. And Florida, look, again, you're competing with Miami. It's the reality of the situation. How many times are you going to have to get beat over the head until you either change up who you're recruiting or you go to some of these Gator boosters and say, hey, this collective needs to start rolling? Because other than Rashada, other than Jaden Rashada, and there are, various stories as to why that happened, Florida has lost every single battle with Miami this recruiting cycle.
What you said bears repeating. Then a lot of this is up to Gator fans. They've got to get on board, too, with the collective, and they've got to be more competitive with this. But they've also, I mean, at some point they had to overturn this roster, and we knew that was coming. And look, you mentioned Miami and the competition from there. Obviously, the other big competition is coming from Florida State, who Florida State at this point, and they've got the Cheez-It Bowl with Oklahoma that's coming up. But they've got all kinds of momentum going in the other direction, including, now Florida's already got one, but they've got a new football building that they broke ground on over the weekend that very few people may have heard about. And I know those things don't mean as much as it probably they used to, but you just kind of have them, don't you, Hank? I mean, it's just part of the process as you bring people in, and you're competing with the Joneses for this. So that's what's changed for Florida is you've got a resurgent FSU on the field, and frankly off the field, and you've got a resurgent Miami that is off the field with this NIL.
Well, I'll give Florida State and Mike Norvell a ton of credit. They're hitting the transfer portal again. They've gotten, I think, 4 or 5 commitments out of the portal already, including some really good players. Jaheim Bell from South Carolina is going to start at Florida State next year at tight end. Meanwhile, the Gators got 1 commitment from basically a prospect, and Caleb Banks from Louisville. So, again, not talking about high school recruiting. We've now moved on to the portal. There is frustration from Gator fans on social media when every hour somebody's committing to Miami or somebody's committing to Florida State out of the portal, and nothing, not a zip from the Gators to this point.
Yeah, well, and I understand it, and then you've got Georgia that's doing Georgia things at this point, and very possibly winning another national championship. That is going on too. So this is going to be a crucial time, and again, it's not just this week. It extends through, I think, the mid-January as far as who is available at this point too. So there, plenty to look at this week, but it's going to be going on now for quite a while, and the hope there is somehow that Florida can have his own resurgence somewhere.
And look, I'll give Billy Napier credit in this regard. He's hit Jacksonville in the Northeast Florida area pretty hard, getting Pyburn from Bowles last year, Tomorrow, Trayon Webb from Trinity Christian, Roderick Kearney from Orange Park, Sharif Denson from Bartram Trail are all set to sign on the dotted line. For Florida State's part in this, they're getting Sam Singleton, a guy you're very familiar with, Brent, out there in Clay County from Fleming Island. Miami has not really got in here this year, but certainly in the past with Will Mallory and Jalen Rivers and guys of that sort. How important is Northeast Florida going forward for Cristobal, for Napier, and for Norvell?
Well, it's big. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, we saw more success in the postseason in this area than we have in quite a while. I think that's going to be very important. The other thing that's going to be interesting, and I know because of what you do with Friday Night Lights, you've seen this. I think that the other thing that's going to have to settle down, too, there's been a lot of transition in coaches around here, has it not? And I'm going to be very curious about how that is going to happen. Some of the better coaches in the area. We've seen some retirements. We've seen them moving on. We've seen long-time guys such as Fleming Island. That staff was there with Damian Springs, for nearly 10 years. So a lot of transition around here, but there's still an unbelievable amount of talent too, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, those high school coaching staffs, Brent, you know this, they build relationships with the college coaches. And when a high school coaching staff changes over, the college coaches almost have to change as well and change their approach with different guys. All right, moving forward, Florida State plays next week. We're still a little bit away from Georgia, although come to think of it, we're inside of 2 weeks till the college football playoff. That thing's getting here pretty quick. Your early thoughts, we'll do it again next week more in depth, but your early thought on Florida State next week and on Georgia next week.
Florida State is playing very well. They're one of the most consistent teams in America right now. I think the stat that really tells me how well they're playing, a couple of seasons ago in third down efficiency, they were 105th in the nation at 34%. This year, they're number 3. Think about that a minute, 51% on third down. That's a great, I think that's a great example of where they are right now and how much they've improved, how much with guys coming back, Jordan Travis, etc., that bodes well for them. I'll tell you what, would it shock you at all in the May preseason magazines if some of the prognostications have Florida State winning the ACC instead of Clemson act?
I almost expect them to.
I think that very well may happen. I would agree with that. They've got momentum at this point. Oklahoma, for instance, their starting tackles, Antoine Harrison, Wanya Morris, D. Lyman, Jalen Redmond, Eric Gray at running back. They're all out for the draft at this point, too. So FSU with all kinds of momentum, Oklahoma losing that after, frankly, a disappointing year for them. The error points in FSU's favor right now, doesn't it?
There's no doubt for Florida State. I really like them next week. In fact, I like them big against Oklahoma. We'll see about Georgia. They have Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU, the college football playoff right around the corner. Although, Brent, we'll have you on one more time next week before the playoff kicks off on December the 31st. Brenton Beard, you get him every week here on Hacker After Dark. You also see him on First Coast News. Brent, as always, thank you for the time, man. Have a very happy holidays to you and your family. We'll do it again next week.
Good. You too, brother. Take care.
You down with J-A-G?
Yeah, you know me.
You down with J-A-G?
Yeah, you know me.
You down with J-A-G?
Yeah, you know me.
Who's down with J-A-G?
The Bold City.
1010XL, proud flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If you're in the market for a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, or pre-owned vehicle with a lifetime warranty, GarberAutomall.com.
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 GarberAutomall.com. GarberAutomall.com.
GarberAutomall.com. New car, used car, lifetime warranty. New car, used car, lifetime warranty.
GarberAutomall.com.
GarberAutomall.com. GarberAutomall.com.
Welcome to Rockville, the world center of rock, May 18th through the 21st, 2023, at Daytona International Speedway with Tool, Slipknot, the return of Avenged Sevenfold, the reunion of Pantera, plus Godsmack, Deftones, Evanescence, Rob Zombie, Queens of the Stone Age, Alice Cooper, Incubus, Hardy, Pussifer, Chevelle, I Prevail, and so many more. 95 plus bands over 4 days in beautiful Daytona, Florida. Welcome to Rockville, May 18th through the 21st. Single day weekend and camping passes on sale now as low as $10 down at welcometorockville.com. Tool, Pantera, Avenged Sevenfold, and Slipknot. Welcome to Rockville, the world center of rock. The King.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Jax Police Athletic League inaugural 5K and Fun Run is Saturday, January 7th at Ed Austin Park on Monument Road. Register at jaxpalsports.org.
There's a critical need for all blood types. Please consider donating at a local blood donation center.
If Hurricane Ian affected your business or home, the Small Business Administration may have assistance for you. Call 800-659-2955.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
If you're between ages 16 and 24, you can learn a career in construction, electrical, plumbing, or masonry with free training from the AMI Kids Florida Registered Pre-Apprenticeship Program. Call 576-7337.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Josh Scobie here to tell you about Eastern Roofing Company. Are you in the process of selling your home and are being required by home inspectors or an insurance company to replace your roof? The team at Eastern Roofing is here to get the job done. They can get your roof done fast with no money paid until the sale of your home. Don't miss out on a sale because of your problems with your roof. Call Eastern Roofing today at 775-ROOF or visit easternroofing.com. Eastern Roofing Company. Service with integrity.
the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Mike Dempsey for Dandy Foods, and happy to report that Dandy has brand new goodies out there, only available at select gate locations. 4 delicious new lunch items to choose from. A hot roast beef and provolone, an Italian combo that'll melt in your mouth, spicy buffalo chicken, or a big old juicy 100% beef cheeseburger. They're all served on fresh ciabatta bread, baked locally and delivered daily, just as you'd expect from the folks that bring you fresh, never frozen goodness.
Got that hometown flavor creeping up on you. Yeah.
Hey, it's Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Santa told me that you've been thinking about a Y membership, but not really sure how it works. So come check out the Y for free. Every Friday this month, the Y is free. That means you and your buddies and your spouse and your kids can all take advantage of free Fridays at the Y. More than just a gym, the Y is a community where you develop relationships, achieve your goals, and belong to something bigger than yourself. This month, Fridays are free, so find your Y.
Your pipes are leaking, don't get nervous. Fa la 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 la. Call Roll and Reach for same-day service. Fa la 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 la. He guarantees your satisfaction. Fa la 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 la. Call Roland and he'll spring into action. Fa la 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 la. This holiday season, if you have a leak and can't wait a week, dial 904-260-7059. And from the Roll and Reach family to yours, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. This holiday, save up to $12,000 with Tire Outlet. This December, when you buy a set of Kumho tires from TireOutlet.com, you'll receive a holiday scratch-off with exclusive savings to use throughout the new year. Don't wait. Visit TireOutlet.com for holiday savings today.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
11 o'clock hour has arrived in the city of Jacksonville. Glad you're with us. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, my friend Zig Fracassi, Sirius XM NFL Radio. He is based up in New York City. We'll talk Jaguars and Jets. What are they saying in the city that never sleeps about the Jaguars rolling in on Thursday night? Zig Fracassi, Sirius XM. Coming up in less than 15 at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour, Justin Barney of Channel 4 as we get you set locally for signing day tomorrow, the December early signing period. Is it panic time for Florida? No, it's not panic time. I got a text on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. One guy says, thank me for blocking him. I can't take criticism. I'm a coward. Denmark, am I a coward? Would you?
Hacker is an ass.
Yeah, I might be that. I don't necessarily know if I'm a coward.
No.
Yeah, and
I don't know what instance you would be a coward.
The only reason I block anybody on Twitter is if they get personal. I don't mind arguing with somebody about sports. I don't mind having a good back and forth. I don't mind having a conversation, even a heated conversation. When name-calling starts or anything along those lines, or people get personal, I don't have time for that. You know, that's nonsense to me. And Twitter, thankfully, has a block button where I can get rid of all the nonsense. But yeah, I don't ever block anybody unless you get personal. So obviously, the 318, you got personal, which is why I blocked you. So have a great night. I did want to say this, though, about the Gators. The 226 on the text line. Hacker, quit acting like the world is coming to an end. Stop it. The Gators will be fine. It takes time, dude. We love you, man. Just breathe. Don't jump off the ledge. Well, I certainly don't plan on jumping off a ledge. You're talking dirty to me, and I kind of like it. Yeah. Here's the thing with the Gators, though. I'm not saying it's panic time yet, but it's time to be concerned. I mean, they got a good class. Don't get me wrong. If they keep everybody that they have, if they get the 21 signatures tomorrow, Excuse me. It'll be a good class. They did not finish strong. They did not finish well. They lost out on Mark Fletcher, the running back from American Heritage, to Miami. The tight end from Stanford they thought they could flip tomorrow is just committed to A&M tonight. They lost out on Sampson, the big tackle from Massachusetts, to Miami. They're not going to get Ricks, the cornerback. It is not ending well for Florida. You combine that with the transfer portal, I'll say again, as of 5 minutes ago, 290 players nationally that entered the portal have already committed to different schools. 290. Only one has committed to Florida. And that's, kind of a project player, a guy that very rarely played at Louisville, Caleb Banks. He's got good size. He could be a great player ultimately. So there is some concern there. You look at Florida State, they've already got 6 guys out of the portal. 6. They got 2 offensive linemen that are most likely going to start for them next year. They got a tight end, Jaheim Bell, out of South Carolina, that's most likely going to start for them next year. Norvell, again, is cleaning up in the portal. Devin Leary, the quarterback, NC State, commits to Kentucky tonight. Florida needs to find a quarterback. I mean, that's the bottom line. Why would any receiver or any tight end or anybody along those lines commit to Florida right now out of the portal when you don't know who your quarterback's going to be? Go get a flipping quarterback. And then it'll be easier to attract wide receivers, tight ends, and skill position players. We'll have a lot of coverage for signing day tomorrow. We're scheduled to have 3 Gator signees on this program tomorrow night, including Trayon Webb from Trinity Christian and Jaden Robinson from Lake City, Columbia. Coming up next, Zig Fracassi, Sirius XM NFL Radio up in New York City. What are they saying in New York about the Jaguars and the Jets? We'll talk with Zig Fracassi next on Hacker After Dark.
Football Fridays are made with special ingredients.
I didn't know you cooked.
Extra football.
These are delicious.
Pre-Game Friday gets you ready for the games. Brought to you by MyBookie and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Howdy, friends. Consider this your wake-up call because you don't want to miss the final days of Toyotathon at Arlington Toyota. Even on used, over 400 pre-owned are on the lot, all makes, all models, ready to test drive, save big, and take home today. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program comes with your purchase. That's 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it. What are you waiting for? It's the final days of Toyotathon savings at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
Hello, Jacksonville. I'm going to get right to the heart of the matter. We have had 485 shootings in 2022. This includes murders and individuals being shot. Jacksonville is well on its way to being the murder capital of Florida per capita population again. The answer to the problem is simple. We as a community have got to come together and encourage one another to break the code of silence. Jacksonville cannot solve the problem, and they were not there when it happened. They desperately need our help. We have got to say enough is enough. I'm not going to take any more. Our family could be the next victim. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think.
For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDadsJacksonville.com.
Make one call to Harrell & Harrell. Let us handle your accident. The one number and one call to make. 251-1111. Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Offices, Jacksonville.
They're finding their way back.
So you gotta up your game.
Find out what you need to know about the Canes on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report.
Now we got a game.
On 1010XL, Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or consolidate other debt or even start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. You could use that extra cash for the holidays, and you can get it with Loan Pronto. Also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
This is Hayes Carlion for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that specializes in pest, termites, mosquito, and rodent prevention. I tell you what, when I got my new home, I had to put on my reporter's hat, find out who really is the best, and it turns out there's no competition. Kingfish provides exceptional service and treats me like a valued customer, not just an account. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Come to Monahan Jewelers' 45th anniversary holiday sale, now with up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store, we're your local family jeweler. With an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget and with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, open 7 days a week in December.
Whether you're freeing up space for visiting family or just need a helping hand around the house to do the big jobs, J-Dog Junk Removal is ready for your call this holiday. If you're breaking out decorations and realize that you need to clear space quick, call J-Dog. Or if you need something heavy moved to a different location, the veterans at J-Dog provide courteous labor services. No matter how big the job, call J-Dog Junk Removal at 844-GET-JDOG or enter your zip code at jdog.com.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your round of golf with us. Our warm and welcoming atmosphere and spectacular golf course keeps our customers coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Jets, Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL as the Jaguars, with 3 games to go, now control their own destiny for an AFC South Division Championship. Let's go talk with my friend Zig Fracassi. You hear him on Sirius XM NFL Radio, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Zig, how we doing?
Hacker, I'm doing well, and I would have thought maybe before the start of the season, if you're saying the Jaguars control their own destiny in December, I would say you need to get head examined. But it doesn't prove to be the case now because, quite frankly, Jacksonville's on a nice run, of course, off that big win against Dallas, and the way Tennessee has slid, things are looking up there for First Coast North, aren't they?
Yeah, Zig, look, I mean, they were 3-7. I would have agreed with you before the year when we saw each other in Canton, Ohio at the Hall of Fame for Tony Baselli. No way I would have thought the Jaguars would control their own destiny with 3 weeks to go, maybe for the number 1 overall pick, but not for a division championship. And even a month ago, Zig, I mean, they're 3-7, had lost a ton of close games, But my goodness, the win over Baltimore, the win in Tennessee, and then yesterday beating America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Zig, they're not only winning, but boy, they're beating good teams in the process.
You know, and the thing about it, I go back even a little bit further. If you remember the game against Kansas City, that was one of those games where they didn't win. They lost 27-17, but watching a little bit of that game, I says, you know what? This team's going to be a pain in the butt to play because they weren't fazed by the big moment, the hostile crowd at Arrowhead Stadium. And I'm thinking, you know what? Even though they lost, and you hate to use the words moral victory, to me, I thought they acquitted themselves well. And then since then, they've won 3 out of 4. You had the hiccup, the big hiccup that was against Detroit, but now we look at them. They may be the hottest team in the NFL, so it's no crime losing to Dan Campbell's Lions. So they've won the 3 out of the 4, and again, Ravens, playoff caliber team. The Titans still lead the South, and of course the Cowboys, they are a playoff team even though they lost because the Giants knocked off Washington on Sunday night, so that helped Dallas get in the back door. But the fact is, Hacker, that they're looking at a playoff push here, and it's clear to see that the Doug Peterson factor's worked in, and Trevor Lawrence is starting to look like the Clemson Trevor Lawrence. So watch out, NFL. I think there's good times ahead for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here's Zig Fracassi on Sirius XM NFL Radio. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zig, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence. Look, untapped potential. I mean, we knew how good he was. Obviously, he dealt with the nonsense of Urban Meyer last year. But my goodness, the last 5-6 games, 14 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Zig, he's really turned things around.
Yeah, he really has. And, you know, the thing was, too, looking back at the game yesterday when he had that scramble, but then he lost the ball after the hit, and then Dallas recovered. Now, inexplicably, if you're a Cowboys fan, they weren't able to wrap up the clock. Hence, Jacksonville got the ball down, and then, you know, Trevor Lawrence working some of his magic there. So, yeah, again, I mean, it was absolutely tremendous. 4 touchdowns in the game against Dallas, and you're right, only the 1 interception during that span, and the lowest completion percentage I saw was, 55 against the Lions, but he's accurate with his passes. He's starting to get more receivers into the flow. Zay Jones has really emerged, I think. Marvin Jones, you know, he's always going to be Mr. Consistency. Kirk, I thought they overspent for, but he is a good, steady guy to have around. So, you know, it's really good to see Trevor Lawrence starting to look a little more like the top overall pick and the great stud that he was at Clemson.
You hear Zig Fracassi on Sirius XM NFL Radio. He's with us here on 1010XL. Zig, Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. I agree with you. There was a lot of grief, I guess is a good word, given to the Jaguars for the amount of money that they spent on those guys. But all 3 of those guys are going to have career years. Kirk has already caught more touchdowns in this season than he ever did in Arizona. Zay Jones had another 100-yard game yesterday, 3 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys, and Evan Ingram signed a 1-year, quote-unquote, prove-it deal to bet on himself, and he's going to cash in, hopefully here in Jacksonville with a long-term contract this offseason. I mean, Zig, those 3 guys against Dallas this past weekend, 20 catches, over 200 yards, and those 3 touchdowns. Again, just a testament to not only them, but what Trevor Lawrence is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Evan Ingram. I actually had him on after the game against Tennessee where he had the career high in receiving yards, and he just couldn't stop praising Trevor Lawrence for, you know, his ability to, you know, stand under fire and be able to make the necessary plays. So it's one of those things I think he's got to realize, hey, you know, maybe I could get richer elsewhere, but I'm with an ascending team. The young quarterback's turning out to be the stud that he was coming out of college. Maybe I want to hang around, be a part of a winning culture there. So, you know, and the fact that he's healthy here, being based near New York City where I am, you know, that was the one thing about Ingram. He couldn't stay on the field when he was with the Giants, but now he's got the consistency. He seems to have the health. and you mentioned some of these other guys, they're blended in nicely, and hopefully for their sake, they're able to keep most, if not all, these guys together going forward as this trajectory continues.
Zig, when you talk about Doug Peterson, right, obviously the X's and O's and the play calling, and that's a huge part of it. I don't want to, act like I'm poo-pooing that. I mean, that's a huge part of the Jaguars' success and what Doug Peterson's doing here. But he had a job to do in cleaning this place up from the stench of Urban Meyer last year and changing the attitude. We talk about changing the culture. And now you hear the word belief, right? Even though they're down 17, I'll tell you a great stat. The Jaguars were 1-112 from 1995 to 2021 when they were trailing by 17 points plus in games. They had won one time in 113 games in their history when they trailed by 17 or more. They've won twice now with Doug Peterson in 2022. Again, a testament to Peterson changing the culture here.
Boy, and that is quite the stat. I didn't even realize that. That's a great tidbit. Yeah, I mean, coming back from, 17-point deficits. Look, I mean, here's a guy, who knows the locker room because he's been an NFL player. I mean, he was the quarterback when Don Shula broke the all-time wins record, ironically enough, in Philadelphia when Peterson was the quarterback that day for the Miami Dolphins. And then, of course, as we know, went to Philadelphia later as a coach and wound up ending, nearly a 60-year title drought there. The guy gets the players, and I think that's a big thing. He's been part of the locker room. He knows what makes guys tick, having been a player himself. So I think that's part of it. And the fact is, when you establish that belief system and you establish that confidence, and I think the players realize, hey, this guy's won a championship. They've played some exciting ball in Philadelphia. He's been to the playoffs, so I think that gives them street cred. And then you establish that culture, if you will, instead of berating somebody for a mistake they made. You go up to them and say, hey, maybe you could have done this different, handled it that way. So I think all of the psychology, in addition to the X's and O's, has worked out famously there, and that's why I think the Jaguars are showing marked improvement, and I think you're absolutely right. A lot of that is because Doug Peterson has changed the temperature of what's gone on there in Jacksonville.
Final moments here with Zig Fracassi of SiriusXM NFL Radio. All right, Zig, it's a big one on Thursday night. The Jaguars at 6-8 control their own destiny for an AFC South championship, but the Jets stand in their way. The Jaguars have to go to New Jersey. It's going to be cold. It's a short week. Now, the Jets are in a must-win situation. The Jaguars are ascending. You could argue the Jets are on the decline. It wasn't long ago they were 6-2, and they're now 7-7. So they're clearly struggling. As the time we're talking, it appears it's going to be Zach Wilson for the Jets, which is also an interesting storyline. Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson, number 1 versus number 2 from the 2021 draft. Zig, what's your thought on Thursday night there with the Jaguars and the Jets?
Well, that's going to be the key here. We've been praising Jacksonville for being able to rally from behind in games and be able to win. Now, I think it's going to be one of these things here, Hack, where can they handle the expectation? Because I think now people looking at them is like, oh, wow, this team's come out of nowhere. Now they're expected to do well. But you mentioned, and I think very astutely here, it is a short week. You're also going to be coming against a team that, like you mentioned, has lost 3 in a row, 4 of their last 5. Although I'll tell you something, they play really good defense. This is going to be a big-time test for Trevor Lawrence because the Jets get after it under head coach Robert Saleh. So how they handle the expectation, and it's supposed to rain around here in the New York City Meadowlands area, so how they're able to deal with the elements in addition to the expectations. This could be one of those litmus test type of games to see just how far the Jags have come.
Zig, final thought. If it is Zach Wilson, and again, at the time you and I are talking, it appears to be heading that way, that Zach Wilson will get the start. National TV, it appears it's Mike White's job when he gets healthy there in New York, although I don't believe he's healthy still with the cracked ribs. I mean, How much pressure is there on Zach Wilson not only getting the start but going up against Trevor Lawrence?
I think there's a lot. I think this is an audition for him. I mean, actually, watching the game yesterday against the Lions, I mean, he did complete was just 50% of the passes, but he put them in a position where at least they could have tried the game-tying field goal, and it obviously missed badly. And even Saleh admitted that he should have handled the time management differently. I thought Wilson, other than the poor interception he threw, made a couple of clutch throws. And he even referred to it, Saleh, today, talking about this being the instant coffee era and that we're just not wanting to give people time. So we look at him, and this was his quote, he's just nitpicked with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, he's only had a handful of starts here, Ryan. So I think ultimately if we see progress from him, the Jets obviously have to hope that this works out because he was the second overall pick. But make no mistake, Mike White has something of an it factor. The guys love him, especially Wilson, the first-round pick out of Ohio State. He has a really good rapport with him. So this is going to be really interesting to see going forward. I think Zach Wilson probably playing for his football future the last 3 games here with the New York Jets.
Zig Fracassi, Sirius XM NFL Radio, and always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Zig, have a happy holidays, my friend. Thank you as always. We'll talk again around playoff time.
Hack, anytime, my brother. Happy holidays to you and yours, too.
Find 1010XL on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by searching 1010XL and follow the conversation on social media because listening at the dinner table would be rude.
Welcome to Rockville, the world's center of rock. May 18th through the 21st, 2023 at Daytona International Speedway with Tool, Slipknot, the return of Avenged Sevenfold, the reunion of Pantera, plus Godsmack, Deftones, Evanescence, Rob Zombie, Queens of the Stone Age, Alice Cooper, Incubus, Harvey, Pussifer, Chevelle, I Prevail, and so many more. 95 plus bands over 4 days in beautiful Daytona, Florida. Welcome to Rockville, May 18th through the 21st. Single day weekend and camping passes on sale now as low as $10 down at welcometorockville.com. Tool, Pantera, Avenged Sevenfold, and Slipknot. Welcome to Rockville, the world center of rock. The King.
All this month, we're celebrating the grand opening of Liquid Sunshine Car Wash on Southside Boulevard near Hogan Road. Liquid Sunshine uses the most advanced tunnel technology with powerful new vacuums and the best customer experience in town because they care. See for yourself. Visit Liquid Sunshine Car Wash today and give your ride a holiday shine. Gift cards and unlimited wash memberships start at just $10. Family and veteran owned, it's the new Liquid Sunshine Car Wash on Southside Boulevard.
Hey, it's Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Santa told me that you've been thinking about a Y membership, but not really sure how it works. So come check out the Y for free. Every Friday this month, the Y is free. That means you and your buddies and your spouse and your kids can all take advantage of free Fridays at the Y. More than just a gym, the Y is a community where you develop relationships, achieve your goals, and belong to something bigger than yourself. This month, Fridays are free, so find your why.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here for Zero Res. I asked my wife, what do you want for the new year? And she said, a clean home filled with family and friends. So that means the carpet, the tile, the grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on. They need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call, and your carpet's clean for only $49 a room, and you get your tile and grout clean for 25% off. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards.
ZeroRez. Zero Res.
1010XL on your schedule.
Launch the downloads.
Listen to 1010XL talk shows on demand.
So how do we get in?
Go to 1010XL.com at your convenience. Brought to you by the law offices of Charles Fletcher, Lawyer Up 904.
How many college football games this season have been played where no touchdowns were scored? The answer next.
Filing any homeowner's claim is really easy with Southern Oak Insurance. Simply file your claim directly with us. We'll handle the vendors. It will save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There There have been only 4 college games played this year where no touchdowns were scored. Iowa has played in 2 of them.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours. When you look for that hard-to-find part for your car or truck, Rusty Acres is your source for used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury auto parts. You'll get the parts you need and advice on how to install them. Rusty Acres, 786-1777.
It's Christmas, and Tobacco Cove is ready to help you find that special gift.
Pipes, cigars, lighters, and special editions
are all here to put a smile on that special someone.
Lamperger gift packs and seasonal fragrances are here waiting for you.
If you're looking for that special accessory, let us help you find it.
Tobacco Cove, Bay Meadows Road is more than a smoke shop.
It's a Christmas experience.
Online at tobaccocove.com.
Jacksonville's finest pipe and cigar shop since 1972.
Perfect Rack Billiards in Murray Hill is your spot to be for all your football needs. Full liquor bar, 8 pool tables, darts, and shuffleboard. Weekly specials every day of the week from 60-cent wings to seltzer Saturdays, along with wing and pitcher specials on Sunday, and tons of great draft choices daily. There isn't a better place to play pool, have a beer, and just kick back. Half-price apps from 9 to close weekdays. Perfect Rack Billiards on Edgewood and Murray Hill. The best place in Jacks to watch sports.
If you want to work with new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound and Security is looking for you now. They'll start at $20 an hour or more, and you can qualify for a $1,000 signing bonus. Tired of that warehouse or food industry job? Try working for Tyson Sound and Security. They will train you. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call to apply. 762-1000. Tyson Sound and Security is an equal opportunity employer. 762-1000.
Peterbrook Chocolatier is your holiday gift headquarters. Your favorite like chocolate-covered popcorn, snowmen, Rudolph, peppermint bark, and more. There's something for everyone on your list, so indulge and be merry.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. It is the December early signing period tomorrow. A lot of area prospects from around Northeast Florida will put pen to paper. It's a great day for them, their families, and all involved with high school sports. Justin Barney of Channel 4 joins us here on the High School Spotlight on 1010XL. Justin, how we doing?
Not too bad, Hank. Winding down for Christmas. A lot of signing on the horizon. Our all-area teams, we got a lot cooking for these last week and a half of December.
Justin, the December signing period, you've covered high school football for a long time. Do you like it?
Yeah, kind of mixed thoughts on it. I mean, to me, it fills that need of you let those elite guys go early. You can kind of plan things with the portal now. It's almost a necessity. But I'm more of an old school guy where I like that traditional February signing period. But it's just made recruiting just that much more blockbuster in about a 2-month span.
No question. I do think, the whole signing day thing has lost some luster. I mean, you know as well as I do, a decade ago, that first Wednesday in February was insanity. And now with December, it certainly has taken away from that a little bit.
Yeah, I remember when the first December early signing period came in, and I talked to some guys who'd been doing it a while, Mike Farrell, who was then at Rivals, Tom Luganbill, ESPN, and, they just did not know what to expect going into that because there was the thought it was new and you didn't really know what was going to happen. But really after you saw the wave of signings on that first day of that early period, you really kind of took and you said, okay, this is the new this is the new day, this is the new time. And then that February signing day period really lost a little bit of that prestige, that luster, that shine that it had so much. And now that's become more of the spot filler day, where teams fill out those classes. And that early December period has become the de facto time to see over the 3-day period. So very surprised initially, but it is what it is now. And December is the new February.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. It's going to be a big day for the Gators here locally, as I believe 4 guys are putting pen to paper to commit to the University of Florida. Let's go to Columbia County, to Lake City. Linebacker Jaden Robinson. There's a lot of people around here, Justin, that maybe haven't seen him. He was a South Carolina verbal that flipped to Florida. What kind of player are the Gators getting there?
He is phenomenal. He's a very, very good defensive player. I had a chance to talk to him twice, once before the season and once right during state semifinal time, and he is an assassin on the field. Very good defensive player. He'll need to put on some weight in college, but he is a great player. Kind of fits that mold of if you go back in the old school of Columbia days, he is one of those old school kind of players that you used to see coming out of Lake City, and he is just a phenomenal athlete. Really the reason why they were able to get to the state semifinals this year, Columbia, was a very, very good defense, and he was the face of that defense. So many big plays from Jaden Robinson. Gators fans are going to love watching him play in the Swamp.
Historically, Florida has not done great with Lake City, Columbia. Now, a lot of that might have to do with the fact that Brian Allen was the coach there for a decade plus, a former Seminole. But even before that, you wonder if Billy Napier getting a guy like Robinson can maybe infiltrate Columbia County a little bit more now.
Yeah, you think that. It used to be Florida State country out in Lake City. Brian Allen was there. He's a Florida State guy. They did have a couple Florida guys in there. Trey Orr comes to mind. But again, you just need that one guy to unlock that. And same with, like Billy Napier getting Sharif Denson out of Bartram Trail. And a couple years ago, Bartram had another guy go there, Trevez Johnson. So you want that foot in the door at a program like a Bartram Trail, like a Columbia. And, Bartram has not had many guys at all go to Florida. They've gone elsewhere. So you hope with 2 guys in the last 3 recruiting cycles that you can get in at one of the best schools, public schools in our area. Billy Napier doing a good job to get Sharif Denson early in that period. And again, same thing with Lake City, Columbia. Get him before that rush comes on, and hopefully you get a foot in the door. You get a seat at those tables every year if you're a guy like Billy Napier.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, what type of player is Sharif Denson?
Love Sharif Denson, and you look at his stats; they're not overwhelming. They're not you blow you off the water kind of stats, but he is a guy to me like a Jaheim Singletary, and the best team stayed away from him. They knew what was going on Sharif's side of the field, much like they did with Jaheim, former Riverside player, went to Georgia, and the stats just aren't there. But to me, Sharif made more of an impact in his senior season than he has at any other time in his career. And talked to him before the season, and he said he wanted to play a bigger role in the Bartram team. He wanted to do more. He felt like he was in a position to do more, and he just erased one side of the field, blocked field goals, and he was a playmaker. We send out nominations for Defensive Player of the Year, and Sharif was in that mix, mentioned by numerous coaches as the best defensive player in the area. Billy Napier getting an absolute stud in Sharif Denson.
Florida gets Robinson out of Columbia County, gets Denson out of St. Johns County. They also went to Clay County, Justin, and got Roderick Kearney, who is one time committed to Florida State. He flipped to Florida, the big offensive lineman. I think he played tackle at Orange Park, projected maybe as a guard at the college level. The one thing I know about Roderick Kearney is that he's big. He's very big. I remember being very impressed by him when I interviewed him at High School Media Day. Justin, what type of player is Roderick Kearney?
Another guy who's really been a known entity since his freshman year. I remember Tom McPherson told me when Rod was a freshman that he was a guy we could have a chance to see playing on definitely on Saturdays for a Power 5 program, and possibly on Sunday. He was just that type of player. And again, you look at 2 of the biggest recruits in our area this year, Jordan Hall at Westside and Rod Kearney at Orange Park, and they're not at traditional schools. Those guys both could have transferred to bigger schools. They showed loyalty. You stay there for 4 years at non-traditional football powers, playing with your friends, trying to leave a legacy, and I think that speaks volumes about a Rod Kearney. He plays with a nasty streak. And Jordan Hall at Westside as well. I think 2 very good players. They'll be connected for quite some time. They know each other. They've gone against each other on the field. And I love Rod Kearney, and I love Jordan Hall this year.
Finally, Justin, here in Duval County, the Florida Gators have got Trayon Webb. He is going to sign tomorrow morning, I believe. Trayon Webb's recruiting process started years ago. He could have gone anywhere, was committed to a couple of schools, including Oklahoma, before Lincoln Riley left. Ultimately, he ends up as a Florida Gator. one of the better running backs clearly in Northeast Florida in quite some time.
Yeah, Trayon is a good kid, and I think the knock on him has been his health. He's been banged up a good portion of that sophomore, of that junior season, and towards the tail end of his junior season, got healthy, delivered a state championship to Trinity Christian. He was healthy this year, played in a two-back system, so his stats weren't as impressive. But, he's a guy that you knew was going to get the ball just about every time Colin Hurley dropped back to hand it off. And he delivered 1,000-yard rusher once again, and he kind of continues that family tradition. D. Webb, of course, was a big star for the Gators in the secondary. He played at Ed White, one of the best defensive backs to play in this area. So that Webb family tradition carries on in Gainesville, and I think people are going to like Trayon Webb when they see him, find out what kind of player he is. He's a physical runner. He's not going to back down, and I think once he gets bigger and stronger and stays healthy in college, he is going to be a very, very good asset in that Billy Napier offense.
A couple of more for Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, Florida State, not to be outdone. They went to Clay County and got Fleming Island running back Sam Singleton. You and I talked about him briefly last week. Like Trayon Webb, a very good running back heading to college and this time to Tallahassee.
Yeah, really, and a good get for Mike Norvell to come into this area and get a Sam Singleton type of player. And Sam was a guy who probably didn't have the headlines as a Trayon Webb did, but he is very good. He's a shifty back. He's fast. He hits the hole hard. And, man, he is a physical runner as well. You see him, he's 5'11", about $185, but, man, he is a physical runner. I think he's going to fit in that mold of that Florida State back alongside Jordan Travis handing the ball next year, and I think that is going to be a good fit for Sam Singleton. And you got a big runner going out to Tallahassee, too. A lot of times those Florida State commits kind of get looked over a little bit in this area just because the proximity to Gainesville we are, but it is nice to see that not say a pipeline, but a little bit of a flow going out to Tallahassee and picking up. And I think that Seminole success this season is only going to amp that up.
Justin, it certainly appears that Mike Norvell and Billy Napier have put quite an emphasis on Northeast Florida. We're going to see some battles between those two on the recruiting trail here in Jacksonville and the surrounding area. How vital is our area to both what they're trying to do in Gainesville and Tallahassee?
I think it's massive, and for whatever reason, I think you've seen a little bit of that lag in the last couple coaching regimes out there. Have not had that success in that Jacksonville, the greater Jax area. And we've seen so many good players come out of this area and perform at those schools. I mean, Tim Tebow, Brandon James. So many guys go and start Florida and Florida State. Go back to, Andre Cooper at Florida State. And, we have had so many guys, Vanez Gooch at Florida State and Florida. So many good guys have come out of this area and played roles on those teams at Florida State and Florida. And for whatever reason, that's lagged a little bit in these last few years. But nice to see it getting a stride, especially for Florida this year, pulling as many guys out of North Florida as Billy Napier has, significant for him. And you get that foothold going back in this area. And I think those programs have to stop letting those good players get out of this area, really leave the state as well, too. You look at a guy like a Derrick Henry. He should have never gotten out of Yulee. He should have stayed in Florida and played there. So I think it's massively important for those coaching staffs. And I think you're seeing a little bit of that with Mike Norvell, that footprint in the area starting to expand. And I do not think you can, you got to pay attention to North Florida if you're those two coaches. And I think this year is a good way of getting back to that. Kenton Kirkland going to Florida State from Raines. So it's nice to see those guys. I think we have 6 guys going to Florida and Florida State in this cycle alone. And I think it's great for our area to get back to that 90s and early 2000s Florida and Florida State recruiting dominance here.
That's a great point on Kirkland from Raines. What type of player is Florida State getting?
Excellent. He's a guy that he's a fast guy. He's a track guy as well. Can run, can hit, can pick it off. I think he had 3 picks this season. And again, he's a guy that's going to benefit from getting into college weight room, putting that on him, putting that weight on him. He could be a player like a Trey Marshall out there at Florida State.
Final moments with Justin Barney of Channel 4. It's not all about Florida and Florida State. other Power 5 guys, there are too numerous to mention, but just single a couple out. Devon Patterson of Ed White on his way to Wake Forest. Certainly Grayson Howard of Jackson on his way to South Carolina. All indications are the guy you mentioned earlier, Jordan Hall. It appears Georgia. That's going to be announced on Thursday. But clearly other guys, very good players, are leaving the state to go to other programs.
Yeah, and I think that happens naturally. And again, you two coaching staffs that are relatively newness to the area. I mean, Napier is going into year 2. Mike Norvell just has not had the success until this season. So I think it'll take a little bit of time to get that impression back in this area. But yeah, you're going to see that every year. But I think if you can get some of those guys, prevent the Grayson Howards from going out of state, the Connor Coxes going to South Carolina, the Bulls tight end, Brendan Black, Bulls offensive lineman, going to Iowa State. You mentioned Devon Patterson going to Wake Forest. If you can start keeping some of those guys home, even expand it down even to Miami or a USF kind of school, keep that top talent in state. And I think that's in the grand scheme of things, you'd like to see that if you're a Sunshine State resident, to see some of that top talent from the area stay here and lead some of those local regional type of schools.
Hey, Justin, final question. Is there anybody, in your opinion, that's signing tomorrow that maybe got under-recruited, that's going to a group of 5 or even a 1AA that you think might be pretty good on the next level?
Yeah, I like Zach Girardi a lot from Yulee. He's committed to UConn, receiver, 6'3", about $185, and I think he is going to be a very good player at the college level. I like Amari Farrell too, out of Columbia, going to Indiana. He's 6'2", 190, got a lot of size, safety at the next level. I like those two guys a lot.
Yeah, I remember talking with Zach out at Yulee during the Hacker High School football tour, and I agree. He looks like he's got something to him. It'll be very interesting to see what he does in a Jim Moore Jr. offense up there at UConn. Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, give yourself a little bit of love, man. I know you're going to be busy tomorrow. What kind of coverage can people expect?
Yeah, it's interesting this week. It's 3 days, the early signing period, guys. A lot of schools already out in the area too, so a lot of these signings will be at houses, parents' houses, or probably in the kitchen at some houses. Some are doing them at churches or local community houses. Jordan Hall, he's actually signing the biggest one this week at West Side, so that'll be at 2:30 on Thursday. So if you haven't seen Jordan Hall, heard him, had an interview with him or anything like that, you've got to find somebody who's got an interview with Jordan on Thursday, because he is about one of the funniest, affable guys you will ever meet. I cannot wait for him to get to college and have some fun with the media up there. So that is going to be a good one to see where he goes. But 3 days of signing coverage kind of here and there. It starts tomorrow. Reigns has a signing day tomorrow night. And we've got just kind of scattered throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A lot of coverage. You can check that out at newsforjacks.com.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, thank you as always, man. Have a very happy holidays, and we'll talk again soon.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
Always appreciate Justin Barney of Channel 4 for joining us here on the High School Spotlight. Well, that'll just about wrap it up for what has been a very, very busy Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark, our late night. Thank you guys for staying up with us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. You heard from Justin Barney of Channel 4. You heard from a couple of Gator signees. Tomorrow they will sign on the dotted line. Jordan Castile, the 4-star safety from down in the Orlando area, one of the top 15 safeties in the country. He joined us tonight, as did Trinity Christian running back Trayon Webb. Both young men will sign with Florida tomorrow. Thank you to Zig Fracassi of SiriusXM NFL Radio as we previewed the Jaguars and the Jets, now well inside of 48 hours to kick off on that one. And, of course, my friend Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You also get him right here every week talking college ball on Hacker After Dark. We'll be back tomorrow night, our final Hacker After Dark of the week. On Thursday, I'll be a part of Jaguar pregame coverage from 3 o'clock to 5:15 with Hayes Carline. Then, of course, the Jaguar game will air on Thursday night. And on Friday morning, we will have a special fifth quarter. Filling in for the drill, Dave Campo, Leon Searcy, and yours truly, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Friday morning, reviewing the Jaguars and the Jets. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green, and again, Jacksonville, thank you for staying up late with us on a Tuesday here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Tuesday, and we'll do it all over again on a Wednesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Hey, have you heard why people are driving from all over the country to buy from Beaver? Stop waiting for months for the vehicle you're looking for. We have new inventory on the lot, priced to sell and waiting for you. Plus, every new vehicle comes with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty for your peace of mind. It's simple. We want to provide you with exceptional service before and after the sale. We'll see you at Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville or Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine. We're here to wow you.
There's life before sports injury, and there's life after. You're in pain, and you need answers, fast. Mayo Clinic's orthopedic and sports medicine team will see you same day, no referral necessary. Rest assured, we'll get it right from the start and have you back